He was there.
Were you starstruck?
Behind me.
Amazing.
I was
P.S. we
already
are
drunk.
I think our audio is back on stream. Whether that influences the telling of your tale or not. I wanted to let you know.
Yes, I just wanted to let you know as well.
Yeah, no, that was all. I bumped into Billy Eichner while other things were happening around me last night.
Nice.
Hot mics.
Wow.
And I left.
All right, and then I turned my camera back on, and then we'll be back into whatever was being said. Say
And
the
Ben.
things that you were being said.
Oh, now I'm silly.
Okay.
You'll never be me! I'm the only me!
Connor, I think you were talking about the Dark Aimleth timeline.
Yeah, I wasn't 100% sure what I was gonna do, but I was like, my gun was loaded. Like I was ready to walk into the masquerade and just see what happened. So.
Yeah, I was like, I've done a bad. I've done a very big bad.
It was like a visceral reaction for Aimleth of what happened in that scene that it caused a thought in his head that he had just never had in his life. And so I thought that was significant and I wanted to potentially explore that, but then we showed up to the masquerade and I was like, I'm okay. I sent Dreamy this long message after that scene happened.
It was funny because like before that I had told both Hannah and Connor and Dreamy about like what was planning to do, and I was like, the only person I haven't told about this is probably the person that should probably know about this. So that was where I would go back to. And is this just in game or is this in like real life too? Can I like rewind that?
Oh, we don't have enough time for the moments that I'd love to do that.
My 6th birthday. There was a point where I ordered Japanese pan noodles when I really meant to get the Alfredo. Really just love to redo that one.
Yeah, it was probably good that is where our 2-week break fell. Because that wound up being a big episode.
Yeah.
We just had to sit with our emotions for 2 weeks, which was also hard.
Yeah.
I'm going to use this for a little PSA for everyone that plays TTRPGs. 1, over-communicate, and 2, check in with your players at any and all points, especially after big emotional scenes. Because we had a during break check-in, we had a post-game check-in, we had a couple of times during our break check-in, just because there was a lot of emotions happening. And especially with a game like this that's so RP heavy and you're getting really emotionally involved and
and like that's...
I kind of wish darker things happened during the masquerade ball. By the way, I wore my Black Widow outfit as Reynad, going like, I'm just a guest. I'm here to be a weapon for whatever crap goes down. So whatever this lovely cast wanted to do, especially Aimleth, I'm like, you just point the gun, baby. You know, I'm just ready to go.
Do we have another guest somewhere on the...
I just heard my husband tell my kids, if you don't grab ice, your hands won't be frozen. Because I have a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old, so...
It sounded like the opening to an Ethel Cain song.
Yeah. What other questions we got? Are people still in chat?
Okay. Yeah, they are still in chat.
Okay.
Everyone stayed with us.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody.
Good, because my computer was just like, no, I don't think so.
Well, I know the answer for Lyral and Aimleth because they started as D&D characters, but also share. If your character was a D&D character, what class would they be?
I love this question.
I got this. Like, I saw this question and I looked it up. Like, I got obsessed with this question because I thought I knew the answer and then I changed it, and I'm very happy because it is picture perfect. Lord Reynad the Fox would be a druid circle of dreams. The first feature is called Balm of the Summer Court, and it is all about healing through nature. And I was like, for sure. For sure.
Mm-hmm.
And thank you.
Yeah. Lyra was a blood hunter / wizard.
Ooh.
Nice.
Yeah. Amleth is a druid, circle of the land.
I thought about this question for Maeve. She kind of became my favorite NPC. I think Maeve would be a sorcerer, like a high charisma leader type.
Mm-hmm.
I love
can
that.
see it. I can see it.
All right, Lilith, Rao, and Apricity.
Lilith
would they be?
is definitely a rogue. She's a rogue, probably assassin, rogue assassin, straight up.
Mm.
Shink.
In the shadows.
Absab.
I think Apricity would be a peace. How is it, paladin or
Cleric.
Cleric. Yep, thank you. Peace cleric, and with like a dip into fighter.
Oh.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
Mhm.
Hell yeah.
We will
Xerath,
have
I think is
I'll punch you in the face.
Xerath would have been a mastermind rogue. That was his bit. Or a maybe a secrets bard. But probably a mastermind rogue is how I perceive him. And then Ral, luckily got to sort this out with backstory stuff with Hannah, but Ral is kind of an artificer. Because of all the different telescopes and things that he made. And then I would dip into Circle of Stars Druid. Because he would have used his inventions and his knowledge to try to explore the Feywild and eventually the mortal plane as well.
That's a beautiful combo.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
I've never heard of that. That's great. Play that character.
Now I want to play a D&D campaign.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Do it again.
Same.
Well,
All I
I'm gonna
do
go learn how to play sorcerer.
give me.
I turn into an earth elemental, meld into earth so that no one can touch me, and cast Call Lightning at 6th level.
Mhm.
Renaud would be on his belly just whispering to the dirt for no reason and nobody understands why. Like, it's
His
okay.
face down.
You just make your storms, baby. It's all right.
Yeah,
I wanna
give me
know-
the summer and I'll throw something together.
I want to know what everyone's favorite NPC was.
Oh, was his name Roger? Was that what your little shadow?
Roger.
Yes.
Yeah. Named
Roger
We
just
named that in
grew
chat.
every episode with backstory and just was fully fleshed out. He had a wife and kids.
Mhm.
Roger was the best NPC, in
I
my
hope he
opinion.
forms a union.
I hope so. It's a
That'll-
good time.
Oh my gosh, I kind of hope someone plays Roger in chapter 2.
I'll
I
play
love
Roger. Oh my god,
I
yes.
loved that cow. Loved.
Carrick the cow.
Here we go.
Die for that cow.
I'm gonna go into this in a second, and like all the NPCs I had written out, okay, these NPCs can help each of you and these can hinder each of you. And I had Meali the Shepherd as a potential love interest for Amleth. And then the first thing you came out with was, do you fuck your cow?
I didn't actually say that though, did I?
I think it might have been like a joke that kind of snowballed and turned into like a...
It was the worst. Like I couldn't have worded it in a more poorly way. Whatever it was that I said, and I remember saying it, and then seeing everyone in the Discord's reaction of like what? And I was like, shit. And then you docked me a reputation point after. It was so bad.
Oh man.
What was everybody else's favorite NPC?
Is it boring if I say Maeve?
Yes.
I mean, I think it's Maeve for sure. For me. She just like so often I feel like NPCs don't feel like fully fleshed out characters within the world that the PC characters are playing, and I like Maeve felt like such an integral part to the story as well in a really fun way.
Yes. For sure.
And it allowed you, Dreamy, to kind of get to play as a character too, which was also really nice.
I appreciated that a lot of times it was, hey, I'm going to send Maeve a letter. And I was like, okay, I have to figure out what Maeve thinks about all of these things now and flesh her out as a character. Sully, Michael, did y'all have a favorite NPC?
Selfishly, I enjoyed the shit out of playing Aislinn. I think the one that surprised me the most, though, were the King and Queen of Fall. Something I love most about your contributions were your descriptions of the settings and the royal families of each court at each event. And you described the King and Queen of Fall as like the grandparents that you always want to visit, basically. And I was like, what? They're nice? No one's been nice.
It was so funny because I
love
sent
them.
everyone the like court descriptions, and everyone had like lust for power, and Fall was like open table, sharing the bounty, and like nobody picked Fall, and I was like, well, nobody wants to be a nice character, okay.
If my character hadn't been automatically placed into stars because of the background, I probably would have picked Fall. I would have picked Fall or Summer.
I think you had a lover in Fall that we never got to. Because you and I joked on the last episode, where's Anthony crying watching Aimleth and Reynaud just make out on the dance floor?
Yeah.
Why did I let
guy.
him go?
He never committed.
Sally, who is your favorite NPC?
I think it had to be Fitz. If that. It's just everything. It's just, I loved it. The accent, the toes. It was beautiful.
Yeah, man.
It was such a fever dream of a character.
It really was.
Oh, yeah.
I love how you all took different pieces from these just bizarre moments and just carried them throughout the series, like the no shoes thing into like Lilith's like haute couture ensemble that looked like she had no shoes, and just the toes joke kept evolving, and you all like gave dignity to some of these very silly characters and very silly moments.
Really loved in the Masquerade how so many people came either with no shoes or appearing like they had no shoes, and nobody really talked to each other about it.
It's just decorum now.
Yeah, it's just in now.
I really hope nobody
Trends.
noticed that I just ate shit on the way out of my room.
I did
We all
hear
heard
something.
I tripped over a cord and just went.
Oh, I kind of wish the camera had just like gone with you.
Falling over.
It was real cute.
So I made some notes on NPCs I thought might help or hinder you. At the beginning, and again, as this evolved, so much of this changed, and like NPCs we never really like talk to. For Lyral for help, I had Aimleth Maeve, and then Prince Aiden from Court of Dawn, because Court of Dawn's all about second chances. If y'all had explored that path a little more, I had Court of Dawn kind of ready to help fill some of that if Lilith wanted to explore any of that, or if anyone wanted to go talk to Dawn.
My brain was like, "Who the fuck is Aiden?"
Well, y'all, I have like 6 or 7 pages of NPCs from this.
Damn.
So, and then for Hinder, Lyral was Anshu, Mab. I actually had originally written Reynaud because I thought, oh, maybe Reynaud would want to try to flirt with Lyral to keep stars split, to try to make a match with Lyral. And then Princess Sorsha from Spring. That's why she flirted with you a little bit during the tea. And then Lilith, because Lilith had been sent to keep an eye on the brothers. For Aimleth, I had Irie, Miali, and then we never talked about the Court of Dusk ever. But there is someone in the Court of Dusk, Hursum, who's the Prince of Fools, and he could have seen you as a good political match, Aimleth.
Oh.
Yeah. That's
what's
my
up,
fault
Daddy?
for making 9 different courts full of like 5 to 7 NPCs each. It was a lot of people.
It'll come in handy next season.
And then similar to Laurel, Anshumab, and Lilith could have hindered you. I had Aislinn could have hindered you because Aislinn could have tried to make a match to keep her place as Aislinn figured out, oh, I'm human. And I didn't know. I love where Aislinn wound up, but she could have been a much more of a conniving bitch on I'm going to find a way to stay here. And yeah, for Apricity, for help, I had Irie, Rao, and then Princess Aurora of the Court of Dawn, who could have been there talking about second chances. And for Hinder, of course, your mother and brother. Lilith, I had originally written Apricity, and the fact that y'all wound up such good friends was wonderful. The Aurora and Aiden, the Prince and Princess of Dawn. And then Nyx, but we never really got to explore Nyx, your friend that also worked at the brothel. And then for Hinder, Zareth, your mother, and then Laurel and Aimleth. I'd written that if you made a move to hurt them, it could have made it harder for you to find redemption. And then for Zareth, for help, I had Apricity, Laurel, Aimleth, and Maeve, which we got to see. And then for Hinder, Lilith, the Matriarch, and Mab. So that one kind of stuck. But, yeah. Okay, who all do you think is the oldest PC out of this group?
It's not
We know
us.
it's not. Yeah, we know it's not Laurel and Elith.
I
Baby.
think it's Reynard, but that's
Yeah,
just
I was about to say the same thing.
I would agree.
he just has that like that cool factor that the rest of us haven't accomplished yet, and so it's like, you've been around a little longer than the rest of us.
We all thought Sarah was daddy, and then Raynon came in, and
There's always room for more.
Renati.
Now
You
you're
can have a
Never
daddy
too
and
many.
daddy.
Okay, what was your favorite mechanic and why?
monologue token.
That was a good one.
And why?
And what?
And
Why?
why?
And
Hey.
because in a TTRPG setting, especially when you're streaming, I think everybody is, I think, a little too over-cognizant, maybe over-self-aware of, for my theater people, improv, it's just being about the best support that you can be. And that's not just like giving spotlight away, it's like taking the spotlight properly when it is needed for the larger narrative. And so a monologue token is kind of twofold. One, allowing that spotlight to not have subtlety be the main part of the game. It's like, let's really sense what is going on. But also what I noticed through this is the love of your fellow players to go like, no, I want to know more. I think you're very interesting.
You good there, babe?
So funny. What's
Oh
happening?
my god.
Jesus.
The hell was that? Who the hell got
Sorry,
Chinese
I
food
couldn't-
right now? Definitely not
couldn't
me, weirdo.
Please, Hunter, continue.
Yeah, just friendship. Just people going like, hey, I think what you're doing is very interesting, and I think you should have the pedestal right now. And I think that's just very sweet. Very, very cool.
Oh my god.
Agreed.
Epistolary phase by a mile. I feel like all D&D games need epistolary phases regardless of what kind of campaign you're having. It's
Yeah.
it was such a wonderful extension outside of play to be able to continue role playing, and not even in a way that can affect what happens next session. Like in a way that allows you to say the things you didn't feel like you might have got to say, or you were in mixed company, and so a letter you similarly to the monologue tokens, for me, it was wonderful to just be like candid, and expressively so, to have time to like think about the words that you say, in contrast to a D&D game where you're very much on the spot all the time when it comes to words. To be able to have time to parse apart. No, this is exactly. I edited my letters. I'd like write it and then go like, no, I'm gonna change that word. I'm gonna change that word. It's this extra tier of care, not only for yourself but for, similarly to what you were saying, Hunter, like affirming everyone else's part in the story and celebrating it. Is pretty cool.
It's pretty cool.
I agree. I loved how it, especially when you would receive a letter, like somebody would be like, I'm gonna send a letter to, and I would always be like,
Who?
like, send me a letter, yeah. Like, because it added a really cool layer of intimacy, I think, between characters that it allowed you to address someone like very privately and very intimately, which I loved, and I thought it definitely helped to deepen the gameplay. Yeah, it was definitely my favorite as well.
I have to agree with that. I ended up really using both the rumors and the letters as like almost social weapons to try to achieve certain things. And it got to a point where it's like you can sort of set something up so like, hey, it's a 1-2 punch, and then you can set yourself into a scene to have something happen. Yeah. So I liked it too.
I will.
Am I back?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
There's
Finally.
also, my friend also has this. And where's the other one? I want to see the one that he made of me. I'm going to try and find that. Oh, this is me. Oh, that's me crying.
Storm is having a seizure.
This is a Mayo explosion.
Love some emotes.
Oh, here's this one. Peepo Mayo.
Oh, Mayo.
Ew.
He's beautiful.
It's as gross as you think it is.
I'm going to go ahead and just take us on a break so I can figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm dreamy right now. That's fun.
No.
Never mind.
Yes, you are.
Changed.
My old roommates will
Click, clack, roll to attack. Do you hit, do you miss, are you having fun? Roll that D22, perception check, are you alone? Clack, roll to attack. You're a big clack and they wait you attack it and clack, roll to attack. You're a big clack and they wait you attack it and clack, roll to attack. You're a big clack and they wait you attack it and clack, roll to attack. You're a big clack and they wait you attack it and click clack, roll to attack. Do you hit, do you miss, are you having fun? Roll that D22, perception check, are you alone? Big clack, roll to attack. You're a big clack and they wait you attack it and clack, roll to attack. You're a big clack and they wait you attack it and clack, roll to attack. You're a big clack and they wait you attack it and clack, roll to attack. You're a big clack and they wait you attack it and click clack, roll to attack. Do you hit, do you miss, are you having fun? Roll that D22, perception check, are you alone? Big clack, roll to attack. You're a big clack and they wait you attack it and clack, roll to attack. You're a big clack and they wait you attack it and clack, roll to attack. You're a big clack and they wait you attack it and clack, roll to attack. You're a big clack and they wait you attack it and click clack, roll to attack. Do you hit, do you miss, are you having fun? Roll that D22, perception check, are you alone? Big clack, roll to attack. You're a big clack and they wait you attack it and clack, roll to attack. You're a big clack and they wait you attack it and clack, roll to attack. You're a big clack and they wait you attack it and clack, roll to attack. You're a big clack and they wait you attack it and click clack, roll to attack. Do you hit, do you miss, are you having fun? Roll that D22, perception check, are you alone? Big clack, roll to attack. You're a big clack and they wait you attack it and clack, roll to attack. You're a big clack and they wait you attack it and clack, roll to attack. You're a big clack and they wait you attack it and clack, roll to attack. You're a big clack and they wait you attack it and click clacking it when you were talking it. Click clack, roll to a time. Click clacking it when you were talking it. Click clack, roll to a time. Click clacking it when you were talking it. Click clack, roll to a time. Do you hit, do you miss, are you having fun? Roll that D22, perception check, are you alone? Click clack, roll to a time. Click clacking it when you were talking it. Click clack, roll to a time. Click clacking it when you were talking it. Click clack, roll to a time. Click clacking it when you were talking it. Click clack, roll to a time. Click clacking it when you were talking it. Click clack, roll to a time. Do you hit, do you miss, are you having fun? Roll that D22.
Hey, we're back. Thanks for hanging with us.
At least until
Sally was-
my
it does it
internet
again.
goes again.
Sally, you were talking about your favorite part of the game.
Yeah, I was fourthing or thirding, I don't know how many, but it was the epistolary phase. I really liked being able to like end an episode and then like sit with it for a couple days and like think about what I wanted to write, and then like handwriting them and like having that like tactile aspect, and like, oh, I have this letter and now I have like this like little token memory of this game that I'll have forever until I lose it, you know, because I'm trash. But yeah, it's really fun, and it really gets the creative juices flowing for me. So
There was a
I would
point around
definitely
episodes
like
like
to see that again.
about like 3 and 4 where you all started sending me your letters during the middle of the week, and that was kind of fun because I got to read them all and go, okay, for the maximum amount of drama, you're gonna go first and you're gonna go second and you're gonna go third.
Also, sidebar: did this group invent poof mail?
Yeah.
I'm gonna say yes.
I'm proud of us.
Yep. We need it on a shirt.
It's true.
It was like, what was the thing that Brennan Lee
Holy shit!
Mulligan-
I just wrote that down. Like, I wrote
Poof mail
down
on a shirt.
poof mail shirts to like. I'm gonna do that. Before you said poof mail, I was just like poof mail. Poof mail. It was like on a shirt. I was like, oh my god! Everybody can see.
What was the thing that Brennan Lee Mulligan was talking about, where he was like, for Society of People, for like Hogwarts, where you can teleport at will. The idea that you would use birds to deliver mail is just animal cruelty.
An owl.
And one of like the slowest birds.
And it's
Yeah, using
the
an owl.
slowest bird.
Uh-huh.
That's animal cruelty right there.
I think, just to go back to the favorite mechanic, I'm torn between the epistolary phase and the monologue tokens because they kind of do similar things. I think they're both so beneficial, and I'm trying to convince the Bards of New York to implement it into our D&D game. But like the utility of both of those things in storytelling is so great, with like the epistolary phase being this thing where you can start scenes if you want, or if you're like, I know I need to tell this at like story point, I need to communicate this, but I don't think it needs to be a scene. And so like using a letter instead is such a cool way to like get across that information. And then jumping off of you, Hunter, with the monologue tokens, like I've played with people before who struggle. They'll have like these really great characters with these really great secrets, but they struggle with laying enough clues and like planting the seeds of those secrets and of those character facts in order for the other players to pick it up, unless the other players are told, I have this secret, and you don't metagame. And what the monologue token does is allow for those players to drop that information, knowing that everybody at the table as their player characters don't know this information, but now the actual humans playing do, and they can keep an eye out for that more and more of those seeds. And I just think it's such a great role-playing mechanic. To just like support your other players in them telling their story. So that's my others.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to take a quick detour into player-specific questions because Hunter is fantastic at coming up with questions. For Michael, has playing a character like Rao, who became Xerath and then back to Rao, taught you or helped you articulate anything about parts of yourself? Have you gained a new understanding about identity and transparency through playing this game? Or did you have an acute understanding already and used it to its full effect here?
I had to look over this one before the stream, so I know I could actually like provide a decent and intelligent answer. There are echoes of a previous character that I played in the Clickety Clackety Ravenloft campaign in Xerath. And the theme of that last character was rectifying parts of yourself that have not aged with you, that are lost in certain moments of life. Parts of you that you are hoping to reintegrate and to have grow along and meet you where you're at, whether that be like the inner child, the parts of you that like you have like denied yourself because of trauma, because of whatever, that have remained like lost to time and remain less mature in comparison to the other parts of you as an adult. And there's a little bit of that here, but I didn't go in thinking that that was going to be the case. If I had to think of something that I would have like learned now after having played him, transparency and communication was a huge theme for just the group at large in general, both like characters and players, about how it benefited the game, to the point where I've been telling people when we were in session 6 and we were about an hour in, everyone was basically friends again. We had a plan and all we had to do was do the plan. Like if we really worked, we could have easily ended in like an hour and a half. Which is a testament to how wonderful the group is. I think with this one, my takeaway from him now on the opposite end is how powerful it is to have people you love be able to remind you of who you are, and the potency of belief. Belief is like what steered Xerath back into Rao. Like the Rao, I will treasure. I will go back to reading some of these letters like for the rest of the year, because they're so wonderful. I think the power of belief was the takeaway of this one. If someone believes in you enough to be the person that they think you can be, or that they know you to be, that was the most powerful thing that he experienced in the game. And then I felt the echoes of that as a player as well, being affirmed and being given great corporate belief from this group. Did that answer the question?
For Celestine, as Hunter understands it, this was your first tabletop experience. Is there something specific from the story and or fellow cast that will carry on through your future creative endeavors in this space?
I mean, just the level of how do I want to say it? Like artistry and just connectivity that was brought through all of these fantastic actors. Y'all made me level up my game, and just like, I think I already said it, but like just like lighting that fire under you and that spark, and I want to keep it going because y'all made. I don't know why I'm saying y'all. I'm literally not Southern, but
I like it.
Nah.
Stop appropriating my culture.
Non-gender.
Yeah, how dare
Yeah,
you?
you're good.
As the
I was
3
gonna
Southerners,
say,
4
from
Southerners.
South Omaha. Does that
No,
count?
I think Sally and Hannah are the only ones not Southern born.
And you can. I feel like Idaho is close.
Yeah.
That's true.
In
That's
vibes?
true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Vibes.
Vibe-wise.
Yeah.
I was thinking that yesterday. I was like, this might be very rude to say if you're wrong, but I have conflated the two a bit.
Yeah.
Anyways, did you have anything else you wanted to get out, Sally?
No, not really. That was pretty much that, and I just want to. Yeah, I'm just thankful. I'm gonna get emotional, so I'm gonna stop.
Okay.
Give me the emotions, I can use them.
All right, Hannah.
Did you say
Oh,
tortillas?
it's my turn.
Oh, your tears. It's like, what?
There was a tonal shift in Apricity's approach to social interaction, especially by the end of the Masquerade Ball. How does anxiety as a player and a character, in tandem or separately, help define a story arc? Does overcoming a challenge as a character translate into momentum for you as a player away from the tabletop?
Hunter, you're so good at writing questions.
Damn.
I think I'll just kind of walk through what I was thinking in terms of how to play Apricity. I knew who she was, like, in her core from, like, before episode 1. But then I like, it is so much more interesting to see a character dealing with something than just, sitting around being exactly who they are. And so the pressure that was put on her by her parents was this really interesting cap on who she was that manifested in anxiety. And like I talked about, it originally was going to be manifested in bitchiness, but the anxiety just like kind of fit better. And then through the like the story and through the people and what they said to her, it was really easy to pick what triggers would like pull the heap for her, that is like, I'm no longer going to be anxious and I'm just going to be myself. And so there were little lines from everyone that really helped with that. And that kind of helped me tell her like character arc of being who she is fully. And then as a person, I mean, I'm an anxious queen myself, so it was nice to play a character who could conquer that in that way, conquer it through friendship and love. And so that that taught me a lot in terms of, sometimes when we have those internal conflicts, sometimes seeking external support really helps. And that was an unexpected lesson. I think that answers the question.
Honor. Amleth and Renaud started up a whirlwind romance that seemed to have real foundational truth by the end of the campaign. Do you and Amleth share a way to suss out sincere attempts at social connection, whether romantic or platonic?
Ooh. Can you ask the question again?
Yes. Amleth and Renaud started up a whirlwind romance that seemed to have real foundational truth by the end of the campaign. Do you and Amleth share a way to suss out sincere attempts at social connection, whether romantic or platonic?
I think so. I think that's been one thing. I'm not sure about Amleth, but maybe I don't know. I think so. I don't know why I'm having a hard time answering the question. Yeah. I'm sorry. That's all I got right now.
That's okay.
I don't know why I was thinking so hard about it, but I was like, I think so. It's not interesting though.
Simple answers are just as interesting as long-winded ones, I would think. As long as they're
Yeah.
genuine, I would say.
Oh, hey, Raynor.
Just genuine.
Welcome back.
I really appreciated how Aimleth was able to kind of like cut through the nonsense, but in a very kind way. I don't know if
Well,
that's exactly what you were saying, Hunter, but I like that
Yeah.
read a lot, and the same with Renaud, and it was a really nice dynamic to play with for all the other Fae who were so tied up in their bullshit.
Um,
It's actually like an interesting point that would almost be like a follow-up question, because of the two groups of we've been in the Feywild the whole time, or we're coming from the material plane, that might have a more, how would you want to put, like direct way of communicating that isn't so whimsical, or with these games, or kind of like high society, kind of like very roundabout, or using information for their own means. It's just like, you know, kind of A to B kind of thing. So I saw that
Yeah.
as like, as a character and as a player, as a very kind of refreshing, like, oh, we're not really doing this waltz necessarily. It's just a wonderful, direct conversation. And I think, from my perspective, that was like a great relief, and it was such a cool to play with. So thank you so much.
I think now that I'm gathering my thoughts better, I think from the beginning in this game you have to pick it's like in D&D where you have to pick a background of like where your character comes from. And so Aimleth not being from the Feywild and being raised in the woods with animals, he doesn't really. And that was me coming into this game where I was like, shit, how does my character doesn't fit into this world. And so it was very like, it's just black and white. He's like steamrolling through, like, he didn't really have time for the pleasantries, but also he didn't really understand the decorum of what it was he was getting himself into, which was pretty evident at the beginning with the cow comment. He just didn't have the verbal or emotional tools to get to that level. So he's just very like, here I am. This is you and me. Let's cut through the bullshit. Let's not do a dance. Let's just, who are you? Like, who are you? This is who I am. I'm ready to just, like, why waste our time with the other stuff? So yeah.
It's kind of like a great analogy of nature, I think, that
Yeah.
Renaud and Aimless shared, of just like, I'm a tree. This is me.
Yeah.
What I got.
Like, cool.
I'm a flower. I blossom. Then I wilt, and then I blossom again. That's it.
This sounds like
So-
the concept battle in Sandman. It's like, I am a direwolf, I am the moon, I am everything, I am nothing. Like, you know.
Yeah.
All right, for Ben.
Yeah.
Lyril was exceptionally observant and perceptive on all fronts and could see the machinations of social calamity as they were happening. Are you, as a player, just as observant of the intricacies of people around you? And if so, does that knowledge serve you well as a player in a role-playing heavy game?
So it depends on the game specifically. I like to play characters that like are very keenly aware of what's going on. Although with Lyril, you know, his kind of whole deal is that he sees everything except for when everything's pointed back at him. And in that respect, he's kind of blind. But no, I am also a very perceptive kind of person where, like, I'll pick up on the small things and try to, like, nitpick and tweak minute details in order to get the full information out of it. And that can be both a good tool and a terrible thing in a role-playing game. In that, you end up really wanting to play the investigator. You want to be the one that's like, I solved it. And a lot of times that takes away agency from both the DM or from other players or things like that. And so that it's a complicated thing to restrain yourself to a point where it is just the moments of, well, here's a mystery that I'm putting out for you guys to solve. And however it is solved, it is solved. Like that interaction between player and DM. So it's a very weird spectrum to live on. I have to say, some of my favorite characters that I've played are ones that are just absolutely oblivious to everything. And then, I have characters like Lyril who's like, oh, well, I know that. I know what this means. I'm putting all the pieces together until it blows up in his face. So, I don't know if that answers your question or not, but...
For Hunter, how did it feel to guest in a series like this? What kind of preparation did you put into your character, and how would you say it's different than guesting in a more traditional D&D game?
Can you read that back?
Yeah. How did it feel to guest in a series like this? What kind of preparation did you put into your character, and how would you say it's different from guesting in a more traditional D&D game?
How did it feel? Great. Everybody was incredibly welcoming and lovely. I play very strange characters normally. Just I go to the fringe of escapism, which is why I like to play D&D. So to borrow a character like Reynard, who is very sexy, debonair, Lord Foxy guy, and to say like the first word and everyone's like, oh my god, what the, it's that doesn't happen in the games that I play. It's more like, what the fuck is that guy? Is he an alien? What is going on? So to have something that is like immediately gravitational is really a cool feeling that I would love to take into other games. The prep we kind of spoke on a little bit. I got 2 adjectives, a picture and a name. And I knew that I was going to run this event called The Hunt. I did not know what that meant. I just knew it was called The Hunt. And so the mechanics of this were like, oh, I can get away from traditional D&D magic and just kind of think of them. And I started thinking about what... in a very meta way, what is my role as a guest here? I am here to elevate a story that is already there because I'm going to be gone, but the story is going to continue on. And so I like to try to leave things better than how I found it. Not in this like weird pompous way, but in like, I did a crazy amount of prep. I watched all of the series, kind of like stopped, went back, took notes, understood the relationships, the secrets, the epistolary phases, had pages and pages of notes to understand what is the social currency going on, what are kind of holding back through these kind of monologue tokens. And so that led me to, okay, what can Reynard do that isn't stepping on any toes or anything, but is also helping Dreamy and the players in a way. So I created, through this kind of naturey summer court thing, the Veil Veritas truth flowers of just like, what if I just planted these? Because what are these characters scared of? They're scared of the truth coming out. And so in the hunt, I'm trying to get them away. So instead of making something scary traditionally, I thought like, if I could just have something repeat the truth back to them, and maybe that would be overheard or something like that, or at least the audience would hear it. So that helped out there. fashion was a big part of it because it's just like it's Feywild. I never really get to talk about fashion. I love fashion, and so being able to go like, let me really make an entrance, make a real impact here. That was a lot of fun. To be able to do that twice. Thank you for having me back for the Masquerade Ball because so cool, so great. And the last question was just very much echoing a lot of things that we've about with monologue tokens, pitch layer phases. I wish I could have really like joined in on those more so. I had some like entanglement, some secrets of my own, but I didn't really have any of those because of my guest status. But I got in on it right at the end there with kind of like little jars of honey to kind of make that happen. And kind of going back to something that Connor just kind of spoke about indirectly is these messages that people would send back and forth were really long a lot of times and really well articulated and everything. And so when we were going through that, it's like, what is the impact of a short statement in a world full of soliloquy? You know, like what is the most impactful phrase that encapsulates a journey from an outside perspective? And so I was able to do that for a few of the characters. So it was really, really cool to, and it was something that Michael said as well. I forget how you said it because it was a few questions ago, but just in that emotional potency that I would love to bring to role play in other games. And the last thing is just along that same line, the prep of investment into your fellow players to really care. It really comes down to just care about what everybody else is doing and everything else works out. So kind of like to what Celestine was nervous about joining in on this thing, like don't worry about the mechanics, don't worry about the story, don't worry about character backstory, don't worry about any of that, just care. And everything just kind of flows with that. And I think we kind of forget that sometimes because should it be in the spotlight, should it not be in the spotlight? Like, what exactly are we doing? But just be a fan of your friends. And I think it all works out.
We ended up with the Ted Lasso version of Feyning Elegance.
Truly.
It's a good
I
show.
honestly think though you should write love letters to your friends more often because it's just
Honestly.
it's nice.
Honestly, yeah.
I just
guys wanna be
bought
pen pals?
parchment paper and pretty envelopes. So if anybody wants a letter, I got these cute little floral papers
Yes.
and envelopes.
Sure.
You're about to get everyone's
That's
address
funny. It's a
in
good
your
time.
inbox.
So excited.
For me, this campaign had some amazing roleplay moments where there's specific moments you can recall where the whimsical Feywild window dressing helped the moments occur and any where it maybe got in the way. I think something I was trying to do in the midst. So for my notes, it was really easy. I wrote out a setting and then had nothing else because I knew you all were going to take it. And it was more making the environment in which all this drama could happen and less about, with the exception of like the maze and the hunt, having specific things that you're going to mechanically go through. But finding fun little extras to help assist in those moments. So the Fey wine and the different potions in Spring's tea and things like that to help get out truths or to take people off guard to catch them in these moments. Getting to add some Fey bullshit for moments like that to help. And I think it took us like a session to really get the right balance of letting connections come out and play and then focusing in on our PCs. And so that was just because it was such a brand new mechanic of, because like Michael was saying, it took about an hour for Zareth to finally come into the scene because Aeson had been playing. And so I think we found a good balance of letting them have their little moment and then fading back.
Every touch was so good. Every little like detail, especially with the Feywine play in the first episode, all the way through like the soups and the various other liquids that were consumed that conjured memories or insanity were all so lovely, and we're engaging on a dice rolling level as well.
I have to give Scott, who is Ben and Connor's home game and DM, credit for the invention of the Feyline. Because that was a cool mechanic that actually helped my character in another game who plays with Laurel. It literally helps them bump into each other to reveal that they liked each other. And I was like, well, I have to carry that into the Feywild as well, since it's supposed to be from the Feywild to really kick off on.
Feywild for years. Yeah. It is such a
all
cool
the
mechanic.
fun little moments that came from it, because it took me forever to find like the right kind of wild magic table, because I was like, I don't want anything combat focused, I just want something like silly and light, and let's have a good one of those saved for the future. Okay, for everybody, okay, now Ben can hear. What moment from the game most surprised you?
Me?
For everybody.
Oh.
I can go first.
Can you ask it again?
What moment most surprised you, and however you want to interpret as surprised?
For me, it was when I played a monologue token for Lilith in the maze. I was not expecting that monologue, and it was really fun because I very much had to say, okay, Hannah knows this, but Apricity doesn't, so I've got to keep being friendly. And it was just such a cool juxtaposition, and was like one of the early moments where I went, man, this fucking game rocks.
Hi, Erin.
Hi, Trevor. Trevor, the answer to your question is yes.
Mine was when Rao was like, it was me. I did it. I was like, oh, shit.
Literal chills.
I went back and watched everyone's reactions because Michael and I had been sitting on that for probably like 2 months at that point.
This bitch.
There were so many cutting reels together for the show has been so much fun because there were so many incredible reactions to different moments that I got to like add in. And there was a reel I just put together a few days ago of Celestine during Apricity's great speech to the Matrix. She just went, "This bitch."
Oh yeah, that one just got put up today.
Yeah. Oh, and the Matriarch was like, "No, you have to pay for your time spent with Xerath," and she was like,
no.
Take her down.
Your boyfriend before?
"Oh, and Michael,
you.
that's my girlfriend." Everyone just had so many great reactions. Okay, but to open back up the question, the moment that surprised you the most?
For me, it was the telescope scene and how dramatically it backfired, but not just how dramatically it backfired, how genuinely emotional it was, because it was the first time playing this specific game. It was the first time playing D&D in a while that I have had not only a visceral emotional reaction as a character, but also as a player at the same time. In a way where I was like, that's why I was sending you all those, like that long ass message, Dreamy, where I was like, this is how Aimleth feels about this, and this is what we're going to do about it now, and this is what's happening to its physical appearance. And like, I was thinking about it because it was like, I don't know, it was just a really cool moment of realness, and like, nobody was, like, everything had been so like kind of light and funny and happy-go-lucky, and then that moment hit and I was like, shit. And it was just because then there were more moments like that, I think, but that moment for me is number one standout, was just that scene that happened.
Yeah. I think for me, it was Apricity and Rao finally like seeing each other again for the first time, and then frickin' cliffhanger, promise broken, drama's about to go down. That I was not expecting that, and I wasn't even there for that. I had to rewatch it, and I was like, I think I was like,
we were
live
getting like a
tweeting in the
live.
Discord.
Yes, you were. That was
I was like,
fantastic.
oh my god! I was like having so many emotional reactions. It was beautiful, and then it was like, oh my god, freaking! It was a Shondaland moment. I wasn't ready. That was mine.
I'll say a surprising thing that just involved my short guest appearance, which wasn't necessarily like the biggest surprise, but in my participation was Apricity's, I just had the word, approach to the hunt of how she solved it. Because I was like, oh, I thought it was just going to be like chased for a while. And then there was like just a step back, and I had the realization, the little click of like, that should be rewarded, like narratively, because that's exactly what Renaud would like. And it led to that really crazy romantic, like undressing to the cliffhanger and everything like that. So I'm glad I listened to my gut in that moment, and it all started from, Hannah just going like, okay, let's talk to the plants. And so, and the dichotomy that we had, like a little bit nuance there. That's something I would love to go back and further explore. Of just, there's a moment about winter and summer, right? And you said that you were starting to be more spring, more blossoming. I forget how you phrased it, but I was like, this is really cool. I love this juxtaposition. I kind of want to bottle this moment. So it was a cool, surprising approach.
I'm having a lot of trouble coming up with one with one moment. I think my moments of pleasant surprise always came in the not always, but came heavily in the epistolary phase, when like gifts were given with letters. Like the first couple times it happened, I'm like expanding the rules of like one how flirty letters can get, because I was like, you can say that? Oh my. And then the other bits of like little bits of like, no, like I've sent you a very personally like specific gift. People's like visual descriptions of things, whether via poof mail or outfits at the masquerade or you name it, were some of my favorite kind of like pleasant surprises of the campaign at large, where having all those pictures painted.
And what about you, Dreamy?
I think mine was probably the fact when everyone came into agreement that no, we will not let this wedding happen. Instead, we will end with taking down the matriarch. Because like I said, I'd basically pre-written all my session notes because it was just settings. And then the last week I went, well, I got nothing. No, I never printed it out, but I will drop in the Discord later what Maeve and Anshu's wedding outfit would have looked like and what the wedding itself would have looked like. I'll drop that description in for our AU where the wedding happened, and she was stuck with awful Anshu the whole time.
Awful Anshu. Anshu the impotent.
Anshu the impotent. Oh my gosh, that being the very first rumor to happen was just so unexpected. And then sitting on that rumor until everyone picked who they were playing, and when Connor picked Anshu, I was like, okay, about to have to share this.
At the top of my notes was the wedding of like what Maeve the Moon Maiden, something like that, and Anshu the impotent that I like scribbled in there. It's like, this feels lopsided.
Oh, it's like Prince Valium from Spaceballs.
Yes.
Good
The
reference.
same vibe.
Does anyone want to cover anything else before our very, very last question? I open the floor to all of you and to chat.
I've got one.
Go for
It can be popcorn style, but if one of the things that I'll miss most about playing this game is just playing these characters more. Like the time was so precious and so economic, and so if these same characters, or even new characters, generally the same group, were to start their own D&D campaign, what would that look like? Like, what would the objective be if we had to transition to something that wasn't so much in the Good Society rules? What would you want the group to do?
Mm.
Oh boy.
Hey,
First inclination. Clear a corruption of a forest. Because something about the moment between Zarathral and Apricity and the branches kind of forming a kind of privacy shell really made me think of, and then the masquerade ball, I was thinking about like how many shadows are in a forest because of all the trees, and it really looks like a prison if you just looked at the ground. So in a place where shadows are weaponized, a forest is a very dangerous place to be. And if that's what Renaud cares about the most, then you could just have that setting be so incredibly volatile and lovely all at the same time. So I think there's something there.
okay.
See, we hunt down some night ants.
Yeah, I'm gonna get him not hair, put a trophy on my wall, something like that.
Did you guys see what I put as the caption for the most recent reel?
Mm-mm.
Oh gosh.
Miss it. 2 p.m.
Miss it!
Miss it. That there matriarch got what was coming to her.
Yep, that's right.
Another guy got in the house.
You've yeed your last haul.
Yeah, you ate your last. Oh, more specific, it's that there matriarch got what was coming to her.
You know, cornbread don't roll uphill in summertime.
True. That never has a truer statement.
I may be just a.
Trevor, I will answer your question at the very end, actually.
I will go next, I guess. I think it would be cool. You know how Fae are often patrons to mortals? It would be so fun. It's the Body Snatcher episode that we've been talking about, where we are, like, all our characters are switched with, like, somebody who we patronize through whatever D&D class, and we're stuck in the mortal plane, and we gotta figure out how to get back. That would just be really fun.
I'm writing that down as a one-shot idea.
Oh, that's a great idea.
I love that.
Yes!
Michael,
You
when
guys
do you
get to
start your
come
show?
June 6th.
Oh, that's so fast.
Warlock of Renaud.
Oh, that'd be so cool.
You get to come stay at our house in the Haunted Woods at the estate.
Yeah.
Estate. Oh, how fancy.
Yeah.
Oh, an estate.
Turned into an entire
Come
town
see
now.
my cottage.
But, like, to have, like, Aimlith switch and be, like, a dwarf or, like, a Prissity is, like, a male half-orc or something like that. And it's like, well, I am me, but now I'm in this body. And then I have to, like, figure things out. Be so
And the
fun.
mortals are trying to figure out how to, like, grant powers and get you back. And
Excuse me, I am a warlock of an archfey known as Fitz. Yes, be jealous.
Yes, I can't tell, but I've been told I need toes. Nummy toes.
Yes, it's a high magic thing you wouldn't understand.
I'm sorry. I must be misreading this because this says nobble my toes.
It is a spell component.
I think it would be interesting as Maeve to go on, like, a mini side quest, and I know that's something like that Lyrel and Aimlith got to do in your D&D game, but like go find the missing court and bring them back.
Totally.
Ooh, that's a good question of like, if you could make a new court, what would the court be called?
Yeah, Jamie, what would that court be called?
I don't know. I did miss one
court.
question before we get to the very end. I think it was Hannah who asked, what's next for your PC? Like, we got into a little bit of the epilogue with our final epistolary phase. Like, what comes after for them?
First comes love, then comes marriage, then comes a weird
don't
elf
think-
boy that gets thrown into nowhere and you're stuck with him
I was
now.
gonna say, don't think I overlooked the fact, Michael, that you talked about tucking a ring back in your pocket, and I was like,
I think that would have been what he would have wanted, but by 1,000%, it would have been, and then like probably a situation where they would have like maybe honeymooned somewhere in the mortal plane, per the request of like Aimleth and Lyra about like what a good spot would be.
Oh, there's this frozen, frigid hellscape we like to call. It's very nice this time of year. Your nipples will be absolutely frozen. Lots of wolves, maybe a Remoraz or two, some yak folk, you know, the usual.
How long is a Fey honeymoon? Like 100 years?
oh, at least.
Yeah,
What's
as
the
long as
thing?
you want it to be.
Nice.
What's the thing in Doctor Who where it's like, yeah, we have one night left on this planet and River Song's all upset, and then at the very end it's like, wait, how long is the night? It's like, oh, like 400 years.
Don't make me cry again.
Oh,
I do
it's so
have a
pure.
question.
Yes.
Just kind of going along that line of thinking and kind of like tucking the ring back in the pocket. I'm like, we're in the Feywild. What are the ways of proposing? And like we have these kind of traditional wedding things stuck in our head. So forget all of them for a second. Like, what would be a Fey way to propose?
Yeah, Michael.
You know?
Yeah, Michael, tell us.
Yeah. Since
Yeah,
you're
You've
the
thought about this a
On the
lot.
spot. Go.
on the spot.
I think there would have been work to. He would have had to take up the mantle of wayfinding again. He would have tried to probably get more people, or graft more people into the Wayfinders Guild, and he would have
Thanks, Connor.
would have taken Apricity to a spot like they like never been to before, and would show her 2 stars that he had just found that had never been named, and would have named both of them after the 2 of them.
I was
And that
wondering
would
how
have
you were
been
going to
his
make me
way.
cry in this episode because I knew it was going to happen. Thanks, Michael.
You're welcome. But it would have been it would have been the best like external and therefore internal symbol of like those things are never going to burn out, and leaving their mark on some like his favorite thing to look at in the world besides Apricity, but on the map. Of the star.
Oh my gosh.
Heart. My little heart.
I was also going to say, yeah, Ben, how does a Fae do that? But Lyra's not interested in marriage, so.
Lyra forgot
If you-
everything, so what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Lyra's brain dead at this point, kind of. Identity dead. Sure, let's go with that one.
Michael, if you really wanted to ramp that up in like a different way, I was just thinking, the stars that we see could have become different types of stars. They're like billions of years old, where it took like light years to get there. So you could turn that into such a romantic line of, I have, like, if we are these stars and our love is, represented by these stars, then I've loved you billions of years before I knew you. Kind of.
Oh, I like that a
Playing a game
lot.
together is dangerous.
God!
Hunter, what the hell, man?
My husband needs to step up. his
I
game
love
now.
romance.
Meanwhile,
Same,
I'm
man.
over here
That's
thinking like,
beautiful.
I'm like, or there's a Jack in the Box, and as you turn it, when it finally opens, there's a very potent nerve gas that makes you hallucinate your life together.
Oh, I was thinking
Preview to
Red
The
marriage.
preview.
dichotomy of Fae.
Yep. Both very Fey.
Yeah, no, not the restaurant, not a Jack in the Box, like an actual. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun.
You said nerve gas. I was like, is that on the menu now?
Are you the Joker? Are you just the Joker?
Celestine, what do you see in the future for Lilith?
I think she is on a journey of self-discovery, and maybe she kind of goes off on her own for a little bit and tries to figure things out. I think, throughout the whole campaign, she was pretending to be a lot of people and wasn't really sure of who she was. And I think it'd be nice for her to have that like solo time and just like figure things out. And love and finding love isn't really a priority. It's about loving herself first rather than finding someone to love her. You can't
Gonna grow her
wait,
hair out and
what
start
is-
yoga.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was wondering for a little bit there if she was going to take over as the new form of the matriarch and like hold on to that power. But I love that like she even gave up like the idea of wanting power.
Mm-hmm. That'd be like the Dark Lilith timeline, probably. Maybe one day we can explore that. But yeah, she's like, I don't need this. I don't need, no one in the Night Court was really there for her ever. They kind of just sapped all the life out of her. So,
Do y'all want a secret for how I see the next century or two going for the Fey Court?
Yes.
The Night Court doesn't exist anymore.
Everybody's
Oh.
dead.
Several of them
good.
went into the Court of Stars.
I mean, it's practically the same.
The Princess Sarissa from Summer went into Court of Dawn. They got married. And yeah, Night Court doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
I used to love that show.
Walk around and find out.
Yep. I was like, you can leave.
Ooh,
I'm not
What's in
gonna
the future for Raynaud and Aimleth? Is it just when I'm in the mortal plane and you're in the Feywild, we get together?
it's just like Pirates of the Caribbean.
That's what I've been planning this whole time.
Not sure quite how, but okay.
Because his name is
only
Orlando Bloom, and things bloom in the summer.
We can only visit if I'm standing in a bucket of water.
That's
Every 10 years.
We can only meet in a greenhouse.
One specific greenhouse. I just because I know Aimleth's story and like what he's doing in the mortal plane, I think we definitely keep our flame alive and we visit as often as we can, but I have a super highway of fungus to attend to.
It's true. Would you like to tell them what the name of this superhighway is?
It sounds
I was
like
just trying to come up with the acronym. What is it again?
Oh, it's the Convergence of Circles, otherwise known as COC.
Convergence of... yeah.
And every year we have a celebration. It's called the Festival of Cock, where all the druids come to one place and they celebrate.
But of is spelled with a U, so it's F-U-C.
It's the Festival of Cock, or fuck.
I'm 12 years
my
old.
God. I think that's a beautiful thing. I definitely see a lot of poof mail happening with various jars of honey and lilies attached to them.
Aww.
I see Raynaud going to the brothel just for the buffet.
Just for the crab dip.
Yeah, just, oh my God.
Does the brothel just become a restaurant if there's no night court
It's a
anymore?
themed restaurant. It's a themed restaurant.
It's like medieval times now.
Yeah.
But it's like
it's-
mortal
but it's
themed.
sex?
Oh my gosh, no, it's mortal themed. Instead of medieval times, it's mortal themed.
So
No one wears
good.
shoes.
It's the Dixie Stampede.
Everyone's
I was
dirty.
gonna say, or like Hooters, Twin Peaks vibes.
Twin Peaks,
like,
yeah, definitely.
Golden Corral.
Oh my God.
I think there's a lot of for sure Raynaud hangs out with the Autumn Court because cardigans, good vibes, good coffee, good tea, all this sort of stuff. But
Good
I
people.
think inspired by Apricity starts conferences, social interactions between the summer court and the winter court to patch that up as best you can. And I think Reynard has a streak of designing magic, and I think there was something very inspiring about how snow and light interacts that you probably designed around. So, and then shared that back with Aimlet.
Cool.
Another thing for the future of the Fey Court is that Mab and Anshu kind of vanish, and the new ruler of the Court of Winter is your older sister, Princess Oral, the Frost Maiden.
And that's when Rhyme of the Frost Maiden starts.
Damn.
Okay. Anything else before our very final? Go for it. Hannah, go.
Me? Oh, okay. Just like on top of all the lovely stuff that Michael said, I think Apricity also works on the parties, making them much better. It is her goal to make them actual vibes.
Just a little drugs, just a tiny bit.
Fun drugs, not the drugs
Fun
that make
drugs.
you sad. Yeah.
Yeah, you know,
But what if you're gloomy?
an entire drink dedicated on making you feel despair.
It's just Molly. Just every party has Molly.
And all of the potions from the Spring Court are actual D&D potions. I googled.
As they should.
Well, what's our final question, Dreamy?
Oh, Michael had one more thing.
Oh, okay. What's your
Oh,
final
no, I
question,
was-
Michael?
No, that I was making sure that Ben and Hannah got to say what they wanted to say.
Oh, I don't have
For their-
anything to say.
Epilepsy.
Okay. So we've been asked if you can make a new court, what would it be? We've also been asked, where is it? Will there be a sequel, and what can you say about it? Cast, if you have Twitch up, Ben's gonna play us a little 6-second something.
Is there sound associated with this?
There's no sound.
Okay, well then I'm not gonna turn off our sound. You're just gonna see this shit.
Okay, make sure you have the stream pulled up.
Are you guys looking? Are you all ready?
Looking.
All right. All right, here it comes. Show it again. All right, that's enough of that. You get no more. You get 2 times through.
Okay, so chapter 2 coming late summer. So chapter 1 was Tristan Tribulations. Chapter 2 is called Season Secrets. A new court is proposing to join the official Fey Court, the Court of Sea. And they have invited members from the Fey Court to come visit and experience all that they have to offer. Yes, Hunter?
Do they say hello by saying good tidings?
No, they say yar.
With a wave?
Yar! Yar!
That's so cool.
Well, that's how we have to start the next one now.
I have a guess as to what word of what Trevor was trying to say that got blocked, and it's making me giggle a little bit.
That's really what it is, though.
SWAT?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Now that we have the hang of this game, it's we're a gang too. The letters are
get,
gonna
like-
be so spicy.
Oh, my
God, yeah.
gosh, yeah.
Oh, speaking of letters, I wrote you all a love letter. Wait, I almost forgot. Can I read it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Please.
Because the epistolary phase is so much fun, we couldn't have this episode without it. It says, "To my darling Fey Court, these past few months have been an unsuspected delight. As you all know, casts and stories like this do not come around all the time. It is a rare jewel to enjoy the story you're telling. an even rarer one to so thoroughly enjoy all the people involved in telling it. May these months be the beginning of many beautiful, fulfilling friendships that defy the distance between us all. Perhaps it is wishful thinking, but we have been dealing in the fantastical for so long, I see no reason to stop now. Wherever time and space take us all, I have truly cherished this time and will always hold it, and you, to the highest regard. I look forward to watching where you and your characters go from here. You have my heart. May the light of the stars guide your feet to wonder. Love, Hannah.
I got nothing else after that.
Well,
A beautiful ending.
Emotional damage.
Yeah.
Emotional damage.
Well, I guess we're all gonna go cry a little bit, and we'll see you guys for part 2 later on this summer.
Yeah. We've got. What do we have on Clickety Clackety? We have Tuesday Pathfinder game.
Not this week.
Not this week?
So
okay.
most of our things right now are every other week.
Are silent this week? Okay.
So Eberron's coming back this Friday, I think? I don't know. Probably. And then the following week we will have both City of Gods and Kindred. Actually, we won't because Kindred just canceled because
You gotta go act.
I gotta do my acting thing in the Orlando Fringe Festival. But yeah. We'll be back at some point with something. And
Yeah.
join us then. Okay.
Thanks for joining us on this adventure.
Get out of here!
Miss it!
Miss it!
Savvy!
Alright, let's
Let's
see.
go raid Kaz.
Is Cass on?
Kaz is still on.
Let me go get the Cass. Let me pull up the Alright. You heard me. I said what I said. I'm still just vamping until I can get to the right thing so I can send it
On the
to
ray
him.
lights.
Hurry. My wrists are getting tired.
You don't have to wave the whole time.
Hey, how many times have I ever heard that, huh?
Alright.
Yo.
You know, if you're gonna be that way, you're gonna be that way. And if that's how you gotta do it, then you gotta do it. Alright. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Rating now.
Clickety clackety.
Oh, please come back, Eddie.
Ah, it's too late. They're already gone.
They're never gonna come back now.
They'll never be back again.